You are listening to Bold Dreams Held Loosely, Visions Embodied. What does it mean to hold a bold dream loosely? It means imagining the wildest, most daring possible future for yourself and having the courage to set out toward it. It means faith in the process and in the destination that the journey makes possible, that only takes shape as you journey toward it. It's being completely open to what life unfolds before you, trusting your internal compass will guide you to a place beyond your most wild imaginings. Visions Embodied is a collection of stories from way stations on the journey to self-actualization and becoming. We are all on different journeys, but we never walk alone. My name is Taryn Watts, and I am the founder of the Mind Rebel Academy. Inside this series, I hold space for the stories of MRA alumni who are courageously walking their path towards their dreams. Inside these conversations, they share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of the road less traveled. Let these stories open your mind to what is possible. I am here welcoming Kristin Pelletier, who is a certified coach and the CEO of Safe Harbour. Kristin is a compassionate, spiritual, and music-loving human with a very diverse background in the music industry as well as national security. Such an interesting duality, Kristin. She understands personally what it means to listen with authenticity, to cut through the noise and get to the heart of a situation. Kristin developed Safe Harbour after experiencing and witnessing firsthand the toll and despair that comes from addiction, relationship betrayal, and the ensuing passion to support those living with this painful reality, to heal for those in the music industry, their loved ones, as well as anyone looking to live a full, joyful, and authentic life. Kristin, it's a real honor to have you here.
Oh, it's an honor to be asked to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been several years now since you've graduated the MRA, and so much has changed and shifted and developed since you've graduated.
Mm-hmm. Everything. My whole life is just
everything.
Yeah.
Do you want to paint a picture of your life before and the dream that you had and where you are today?
Wow. Okay.
It's a big question. Yeah, let's hear it.
It's a big question. So, yeah, I know so, okay, I'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Music, because everybody goes, what are you doing? What's going on with this? Right? Music was just always part of who I am, right? It's always been a part of who I was from a very little girl. My first sort of spiritual experience with music was 1984, I believe. So I was 4 years old, and Bruce Springsteen had just released his Born in the USA album. And it was the first time I heard Born in the USA. And I remember having this like crazy moment of just, I can't explain it, spiritual, where I was like, whoa, what is this? And that was it for me. That was just the beginning of me, begging my parents for money to buy cassette tapes, and then over the years, it was just my passion. It was just something I knew I was going to always work in music. I just didn't know how. I'm not super musically inclined myself. So I guess, the nutshell version of how I got into music was accidentally kind of stumbled into it. I was at a music festival when I was 16, almost 17. Snuck backstage with a girlfriend. We pretended we were journalists. We literally, it was at a massive festival in Ottawa. Like it was like morning to night. I think there were like 30 bands that played. So we sneak backstage, and we come up and we pop up, and all the tour buses are lined up, and we're like, now what? We're like just kids, right? We had backpacks, we had notepads, pens. So we started knocking on tour buses, and long story short, we ended up with like, I don't know, I don't remember, 2 dozen interviews with like these really, really like renowned artists. So from there, we created a music magazine at that point, like back in the day. I'm aging myself. It was called a zine. So this street zine took me through right up into my 20s, basically. And I would reach out to artists when they were coming to town. I would tell them who we are. I would ask for interviews. It was for sure a way for me to get into concerts for free. I was like a broke student, right? And just naturally throughout all of this, I just created these relationships and eventually found myself being asked to book shows. So I became an independent booking agent. Um, After gaining confidence in the industry, I got into managing. And really, that's sort of where my story blossoms, is that I got into managing and discovered the love, the deep love I have for the music industry and for artists. But the last several, I don't know what you say, the last several like managing opportunities that I had ended in heartbreak because of addiction and mental health issues. And it was really at that point that I actually said, I'm never going to manage again. This isn't for me. It was too hard. When you're in a band, depending, whether you're an agent or a manager or a crew member or whatever, you're like a family. You get so close. So to see the decline of these artists who just had so much talent made me think, you know what, maybe there's another place for me. But I didn't really know what that place was just yet. Um, but yes, like as you mentioned, I also worked in national security for almost 21 years. And that came around because 9/11 happened. And after 9/11 happened, the whole world changed. And it's crazy, right? Because we're having this conversation real time, and there's so much going on in the world right now. And but back at that time, I something in me ignited, like something in me went, maybe I should do more. Maybe I can do music and I can help protect Canada. Maybe I can do both. So I applied, I got in, and um, basically for 20 years, I was like, I joke that I was a spy by day and I was like moonlighting in the music industry by night. And I did that until I couldn't manage both anymore. And around the time you and I met, I don't remember if I was actually, I was on my path to burnout. I don't
Oh,
know if I
yeah.
had, yeah, I don't remember if I medically had burnt out yet, but it
Hmm.
was heading in that direction. So I, you know, um, somehow I was able to sort of combine both of my passions. So working in national security and music. And right up at the end, before I left the government, I was fundraising um, for our department and bringing in bands to play concerts inside. So for the first time in history, non-agents, like non top secret cleared people, were allowed in the building in this capacity. And it was amazing. We raised almost $500,000. And it was just a chance for me to really reconnect with some of those people that I had worked with over the years. So then I burnt out. Then I was like taken by ambulance from work, thinking I was maybe having a heart attack. We weren't sure what was happening. And I said, okay, enough is enough. I need to do something. So I took sick leave for the first time. And 4 days into my sick leave, COVID hit. And it was like all my plans, I wanted to do yoga every day and meet my girlfriends for lunch and eat smoothies and salads, and suddenly I'm home with 3 kids, trying to teach them virtually and do all of this stuff. And I just felt super lost. And I honestly don't remember if it was you or Dawn or someone that I had been talking to had said to me, it's the perfect time to take the Mind Rebel course. And I think it was like sort of presented like, why don't you just do the 3-month practitioner's course? That'll be good for your soul. It'll, even if you don't want to become a coach, it'll be good for you. And I was like, yeah, I'm on board. So that is really where my transformation started, was the practitioner's course. Because I talk about this all the time in interviews. I don't know if you've caught any of these, but I always recount the first class in the MRA, and how you were teaching us about boundaries. And I was like, I felt like the outcast of the group, because I was like, I don't know. Like, even though you explained what a boundary is, I still don't get it.
What
And
do you mean
yeah,
boundary?
sorry. And then just going through it, I remember when the 3 months was up, I said, I'm not ready to leave. Like, I felt like I had found my calling in life. I, you know, I had just, I don't know, like they always say, like the call to coaching is deep. Like a lot of people are born coaches. They just don't know it yet.
I love that.
Right. Through continuing with the MRA, and, part of the certification is submitting videos. So you need clients, you need to be able to coach people. And it was in the practice of coaching people that I discovered that's where my joy is. And in helping people, and literally watching the lights go on, and listening to them shift their perspective about the way they see the world or themselves, it was the most powerful thing for me that I, had ever experienced. So Safe Harbor was sort of born from that. Safe Harbor was born out of a deep desire to help other people, and to be that person for people that I didn't have when I needed it. When you and I had met, when my husband and I were separated, he battles addiction. Alcoholism runs in my family as well, so being the oldest grandchild growing up, I was always subjected to the damage that it caused the family, the emotional damage. And so, yeah, like, I guess going on my own healing journey just sort of led me here. And it actually, you know what, I'm just remembering this now. I haven't talked about this in a while, but I remember one of the girls' nights we had at your house. Do you remember sitting in your hot tub, and I was like, I had a dream. Like, I had a dream last night that I was sitting in a circle with a group of people. Just We were all just talking, and I was listening. And then as I woke up, I saw a wooden sign, and on the sign was written Safe Harbor. And so it was just like this. It was almost like it happened without me even trying. It was almost like me just being open to the idea that there might be more for me out there. Um, it just it just happened.
I can't help but notice the sign behind your head right now. Like, can we just, yeah, like,
Yeah, yeah. So my journey was long, um, and Safe Harbor has changed a lot over the years. What a lot of people actually don't know is that when I graduated from the MRA, Safe Harbor was already in the works. I had already hired the cultivators to design my
Mhm.
website and help me with branding and all of that. And I was actually about to launch. The launch looked a lot differently than it does now. But about 3 days before I was about to launch, I discovered my husband was still in the throes of addiction, whereas I had been led to believe that he had been in recovery for 3 years. So at that point, like, honestly, I felt like my life came crashing down. Like, here I was about to launch this coaching business to support addicts and support partners and family of addicts, thinking I had it all figured out. And I didn't. I didn't have it figured out. I thought I had. But what that did was catapult me into another journey, which was a journey of sort of seeking truth within the whole addictions realm. And I finally found the right help. I finally found the right community of people who had been studying addictions. Actually, this community I found, they're called the AppStats community. They're out of the States.
Can you say that again?
The AppStats. So
The
the
app stats. Okay.
yeah, the Association for Partners of Sex Addicts
Okay.
and trauma specialists. So I actually went to school through them and got certified in the trauma betrayal realm.
Wow.
So I'm very specific about that realm because
Yeah.
that's where my certification is. But this community of people, like they're doctors and they're scientists that spent their entire careers studying and working with addicts, like with all different kinds of addicts, but sex addiction is really the new addiction of our generation, because computers are the new, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like they're like when we were kids, we weren't on our phones and computers. We were outside playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now everything is literally as close as your phone and your computer. So these people actually over time realized that the effects that the addiction was having on partners was so devastating that this whole idea of 12-step programs and Al-Anon and Esalen were not working.
Mm-hmm.
And not only were they not working, they just they were wrong. So this is where CPTSD was really born out of. So they were saying, back in the day, if a partner went for help, they were automatically diagnosed as codependent.
Mm-hmm.
And questions were posed to them like, you know, your partner might battle an addiction, but what's wrong with you that you chose your partner? You know, they would always try to make it about the partner, like as if so I'm speaking in generics, but for me, for example, when I went for help, I was told you're codependent, you need to go away to an addictions facility to learn about this. And I did, but I knew deep down in my heart that I didn't cause it, that I had nothing to do with any of it. And so essentially, this is what all these doctors and scientists have done. They left that field to focus on betrayal trauma and what it does to a partner's mental, physical, and spiritual state.
Mm.
So um, my whole game plan changed. I basically took courses through this community and got help for myself, like the right kind of help for myself. I finally started to heal. And in doing that, it catapulted my husband into a real recovery with real specialists who aren't just going to like throw a 12-step program at him and say, work this and stay sober. Like these people have real mechanisms and tools to help. And so Safe Harbor has gone through many different looks and transitions, and that's kind of where we are now. And the whole like music industry, entertainment industry just works because addiction, betrayal, everything runs very rampant in that industry. And trauma always comes down to really like unworthiness and numbing and coping, and it's all just so intertwined. So I do coach a lot of artists, actors, but I'd say about 50, maybe 50% of my clients are victims of betrayal who are just navigating those waters and trying to figure out what to do next, how to heal.
Mm. Oh, I have so many questions for you. I would love for you to go a little bit deeper in the differences between, or the thinking, the differences in thinking around the predominant 12-step program or Al-Anon to support um, the partners or anyone who's been impacted by addiction versus the approach that you've been trained to take. And I'm just so curious about some of the differences and the nuances in that.
So when you as a partner or as a family member, when you attend a support meeting such as Al-Anon, which is wonderful, okay,
Yeah.
I have nothing but love for these groups, because the truth is, if you are living in an abusive situation, um, which cannot often be a hot topic, but if you are an addict, you are abusing the people you love, whether you like it or not. And this is why your entire world revolves around protecting the one thing that is keeping you to feel okay, which is an addiction, right?
Mhm.
So it means that you have to lie constantly, gaslight, manipulate. You're probably so entrenched in the throes of shame, because addicts don't want to be addicts. They walk
Mm.
around bound, like literally bound. If you picture an addict with like a heavy rope wrapped around their whole body, their whole inner heart, their soul, everything is bound. But they don't really have a choice. They have to lie, they have to manipulate. And if you're on the other end of that, you're someone who likely has no idea what's going on. You just know something feels off. Your instinct might tell you he or she, my partner's, I don't think they're being truthful, but I don't know what it is. Or you might, over time, if it goes on for a long time, you might just start to feel a sense of chaos in your brain, like nothing makes sense. There's a term called crazy making.
Mhm.
So often, like in the old days, when women would go for help to say, I don't know what's wrong, I just, I don't know what's going on, they would call them crazy. They would give them
Mhm.
medication and say,
Mhm.
you're losing your mind. When in reality, they're not. It's just that the number one person in their life, their home, their emotional home, is not a safe place. So, okay, I'm sorry, I feel like I
Mhm.
might be losing the question that you asked, but that's where the 12-step program came in. They didn't know how to treat partners of addicts. So they were like, they need a 12-step program too. And that's the difference. So that's the difference between programs that I run and people I deal with. There is no lens of a 12-step program. We
Mhm.
approach everything from a lens of, you have been emotionally and spiritually abused, therefore you are traumatized. And trauma looks differently for everyone, but trauma can look like, um, physically, trauma can look like people put on weight, they lose weight really fast. It can look like they are unable to make a decision, like that they have been emotionally manipulated for so long, so heavily, that they doubt their reality completely, that they don't even know what they want. It can look like as simple as, I don't even know what I want for dinner, and they just can't make a decision. Trauma can take on so many different forms, but every single client I have that is coming to me for betrayal has the same, has basically, it's like it's almost like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they're like carbon copies of each other in ways. Everybody thinks there's something wrong with them, that they've somehow um, enabled this or allowed it to happen, and they think they're going crazy. They're depressed. They're on heavy medication. Yeah, trauma's just, it's a different beast. Sorry, what I will say too is that codependency can go hand in hand, but this new community of people are just teaching, they're teaching about it. It's not the whole thing. They're not saying you're codependent, you
Mhm.
chose this is a direct, there's a direct correlation between you choosing your partner and your childhood trauma. They're not saying that anymore. They're saying, they're treating these people as if as victims, just as, like, if you went off to war and you experience something in war and you come home and you're diagnosed with PTSD, that's usually one event. CPSD is an event or events that have happened over a very long period of time, such as women or men living in domestic abuse. Am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Um, so another thing I'm really hearing about your story, Kristin, and watching, I've had the honor of watching your journey even before, you and I met through
Yeah.
our children, when they were in school together. So I've known you before,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen your journey unfold over like a number of years now.
Yeah.
So from the seeds of Safe Harbor, from the very seed or the very first vision you had, to watching you hone your skills in coach training, to then just going for it
Yeah.
and launching your business, and then having this incredibly heartbreaking experience, this challenging experience days before you were about to launch your business, and then pivoting, and then not using that, but almost like taking that, like that
Mm-hmm.
could have derailed you, Kristin. That could have derailed you. But instead, it actually fueled you
Mm-hmm.
to even deeper knowledge, deeper wisdom, deeper training, so that you could do deeper work for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and for others. I've always thought of business as one of the greatest catalysts for our own growth.
Yeah.
Like running I always say, like a soul-led business, which is the businesses that you and I run. They're
Mm-hmm.
soul-led. They are part and parcel of who we are. These are things born from our insides, like born from our souls. And um, your story, your journey is such a beautiful embodiment of that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, like I say often, when I release little videos and stuff, you can only take people as far as you've gone. And I really believe that. And that's why I didn't launch when I did, because I said, no, I'm not taking people to this point. I'm going to figure this.
Mm.
I was about to swear. I'm going to figure this out.
Okay.
I'm going to figure this out. And then I'm going to, and I didn't know what that looked like. Like I thought, all right, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out of this marriage. We separated for a year. I got myself a counselor from this community, this ABSATS community, who really, a lot of the work, to be honest, that we did was work that we did in the MRA. But when you're in the throat, like when you are in the depths of despair and you feel hopeless, it's hard to coach yourself.
Yeah.
You need someone.
And you need someone. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I would imagine needing that one-on-one, like real someone to go in with you and
Yeah.
and
And
just
yeah.
pull you
And
out sometimes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And someone who's so educated in the betrayal trauma realm that they can stop you and say, are you crazy? Or was that manipulation? Are
Hmm.
you crazy or was that gaslighting? And are you crazy? Because you do feel crazy a lot when you're in these types of relationships, right? And someone to really hold safe space and remind you of how capable you are and remind you that things don't happen to you, right? They happen for you, and to help you form. And he helped me really form this like beautiful dream to help others out of this, with the right tools,
Hmm.
right? So, like leaving the 12-step program behind and taking on the trauma lens made everything easier. It made everything easier because I knew what I was actually dealing with. I wasn't some codependent, abused wife. I was traumatized, and I needed to work through that trauma. And um, really, that year, even though it was one of the hardest years of my life, that year carved me into this like rock solid woman, and nobody will ever shake that again. Like it really showed me how strong I can be. And it reminded me of all the things that I love in life. Like I started traveling by myself. I reconnected with music. You know, I flew all over by myself to just check out bands that I was interested in, and developed all of these new connections. And you know what it was? I call it the year of yes. So for a lot of my clients that come to me and they're feeling empty, it's what I call. I say, we're about to start a year of yes, and that is saying yes to your heart's desires and no to everything else. It's setting boundaries to the point where people talk about you, to the point where family and friends don't get it. But it doesn't matter. It's like the year of yes without any justification behind why. It's just because we need to learn how to put ourselves first again.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here you are, the CEO of your business, the CEO of your life.
Ooh, I like.
You get to work from home,
Mm-hmm.
get your kids to school enough, and you're living that dream.
Oh my gosh. I wake up every day and I can't believe this is my life.
Wow.
Honestly, I do. I have really leaned into the whole idea of manifestation and building the life of your dreams. And I've taken, I've hired so many coaches, just coaches in different areas. My last coach, one of my last coaches is actually a recovered addict who is now a viral TikTok star, literally set up for life because of what he's done and the work that he's done on himself. And I walked through his program that he's offering other people. And, I was actually just telling him about you because the last chat we had was after my final exam. And I remember you said, "You're the most powerful manifester I've ever met in my life." And it's taken me a long time to figure out that what I was doing was actually manifestation. But I have made these connections with these actors and musicians. Like the Ted Lasso community is supportive of me, sending me videos, following me on Instagram. Like I have been trying to manifest an interview with one of my favorite bands ever. I have to be very careful. I can't say who it is right now, but I manifested that. I got an interview. I'm the only person in the world that actually knows what is going on right now in this band, and I'm not allowed to release the interview yet. So I have it, and this is like part of my journey too, is figuring out like, why are these crazy things happening, and then I'm being like put on pause and put on hold, and I'm just trusting the process. But it's true, like this is my dream. My dream is to connect with people, to help people. Um, I have artists. I have like artist interviews coming up who you like used to be big way back in the day and have somehow lost that spark in themselves where they feel like their life is over. They feel like there's nothing more for them in the future, and then they hesitate to do these interviews. So I coach them into reminding them how incredible they are and that they can relaunch their careers. Like it's so amazing. And also I think, being in national security and having my top secret clearance, like people trust me. They're like, she
Yeah,
can
you're
keep
pretty legit.
a secret. I'm safe with her.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, this life that I'm building is I don't know where it's going to lead. Like I have a meeting set up on Monday. I'm going to be revamping my website a little bit, taking some stuff off. I have a whole corporate section that I threw up there, but like I don't want to do it. Like I want to focus on where my joy is, and that is in helping people within, the betrayal realm and the music industry and with addictions and everything. I'm done with the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From where you sit today, our dreams are ever evolving. We're always on like the frontier of a new dream. And you have accomplished accomplish is not the right word, because accomplished feels like something you strive for. This is something I mean, there was a lot of work involved in what you've created for yourself, but this is deeper than an accomplishment. It is you look at the life you've created for yourself and where you are today. And from this seat, what is next for you? What are the what are the deeper dreams that are starting to brew inside your heart? If you dare to say them out loud.
Yeah. Um, I have I have a lot of dreams. Honestly, if I could do this for the rest of my life, and okay, I do have a big dream. Okay, I would love one day, like one day, I would love to um, travel the world with a band and actually provide on-road support. So, like, because oh man, I love to travel, and if I could support a band in it, and not, it doesn't even have to necessarily look like sobriety, but in wellness, in coaching on the road, in meditation, sobriety.
Mhm.
A lot of bands actually, they'll have little AA meetings on the road. So if I could do something like that, once in my lifetime, I would be pretty ecstatic. But otherwise, I just want to keep going and see where this can go. I am working on a book. I have been working on it for a while, but I mean, I would love to finish that. Um, and yeah, I don't know what else. It's funny because I ask everybody I interview the same question, but I think I'm just so open. I'm just like saying yes to everything I can right now
Mm.
with boundaries because I don't want to burn out. And you know that I can do that.
Would you say this energy of yes, this openness, this, I'm hearing some of the visions, the book, that being on the road. I can so picture you doing that, by the way. I can see it. It's painted crystal clear in my mind as you said that.
Yeah.
You know, there is no doubt in my mind that that will happen for you one day.
Hope so.
It will happen for you
It,
one
it
day.
will, right? This is what I'm learning. I have to change my language a little bit. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to
I
happen.
think it will. Um, but what you just said, it feels like that is the definition of having a bold dream and holding it loosely. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Ooh, yeah.
holding it loosely and being just so open to where this road leads. And I'm curious, this being a yes to things. I'm wondering, do you think that that's been a key for you in terms of what you have been able to manifest in your life?
Is saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the keys, to be honest, Taryn, goes back to when we first met and I went on that first Mind Rebel retreat.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I ever heard the saying, like, and like to listen to the whisper of our souls. I think for me, part of it has been saying yes to that,
Oh,
is finally listening to what my soul, which, my intuition,
yeah.
my divine connection to God is that.
Yeah.
And I think once I realized that, because I was raised in a different environment, right? I was raised to trust God. I was raised to listen to God, but never really taught how to do that. And I was never taught that my intuition is a gift. And I was never really taught that how do I explain that? Um, I just feel like it was the gap. It was what was missing for me, learning to trust myself and learning to trust my dreams, that I had them for a reason. Learning that when you're a child and you have a dream as a child, that's likely your destiny, because that when as a child you're the purest, most authentic version that you've ever been, right? So for me, I think just having confidence and trusting in all of it has really catapulted me forward. Also, I'm a huge daydreamer, and I always have been. And I've always sort of dreamt about this, and I just didn't have structure to it. So this has just given me structure, and then, yeah, I guess saying yes and learning to say, I've learned to say no. I've learned to say no to clients that don't feel right. I get a lot of men. Get a lot of men that will do a 30-minute. I'll do a 30-minute call with, and I almost know instinctively we are not aligned. We are not on the right path. I'm sure it will happen with women. It just hasn't yet. So learning to say no has been big too.
I love this discernment that you've just named about the yeses to the whispers of your soul, and everything else is just a no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's, it's sort of like a big tagline now. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. But there's so much truth in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Kristin, I could talk to you forever and ever and ever. This is, thank you for sharing so openly and so vulnerably, as you always do.
Yeah.
For people listening who would love to learn more about what you do and the specializations that you have as a coach, how can they reach out to you?
So I have a website, a safeharbor.ca, and all my services are listed there. My following seems to be Instagram, Safe Harbor Coaching. That's where it was sort of I didn't expect to take off there, but that I'm growing constantly on Instagram, and that's where I do all my live interviews as well. And you can find me on TikTok as well, same handle, Safe Harbor Coaching. Or you can email me, safeharborcoaching@gmail.com.
Awesome. And I'll put all of these links in the show notes.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This was amazing. It flew by.
Yeah, my honor.
At the Mind Rebel Academy, we train and support world-class coaches and leaders. We believe that a person thriving inside of their life's work creates a ripple effect that will be felt for generations to come. If you have a yearning to more deeply impact those you love and serve, coaching can create a powerful outlet to step into your purpose. The MRA is wildly dedicated to our students and their potential. Becoming a coach is not something you do, it's someone you become. This is why we have designed our renowned ICF-accredited Mind Rebel Coach Training Series to be a unique blend of coach skills training and deep reflective self-discovery. The passion, integrity, and devotion that we bring to our programs creates an intimate, high-touch, and deeply transformative experience for our students. And to ensure that we maintain that level of service and support, our flagship coach training only begins once a year in the spring and is limited in size. Visit our website to learn more about our start dates and how you can apply to join at www.themindrebel.com. This is so much more than a training. This is your legacy.